For more on how COVID-19 is impacting the finances of our province, I'm joined by CBC political reporter Adam Hunter. Adam, what do you make of what Minister Harpower said?
Well, we've been waiting for a few days here, Christy, for almost exactly a month, in fact, to hear the government's revenue projections. They left them out of their budget update on March 18th, saying they just couldn't keep things, give people a good sense of where the revenues were going to be for this year, given the uncertainty around COVID-19 and the huge plunge in oil prices that we saw back in early March. Now, she says under the three scenarios, there could be between a $1.3 billion loss in revenue all the way to $3.3 billion. And as you heard, she's saying that this is not going to be a structural deficit that we've seen in the past where the government ran a deficit because it had to. This is a pandemic deficit. The other thing that she said that stood out to me today is that people need to know that the government spending plan that was released on March 18th, they're planning to spend more than that. They've already put in place some measures to help people who are affected by COVID-19, people who have to isolate, or small businesses who need relief. So that money is going to continue to get spent. She said that there's going to be a need for the government to help people out, and they're going to do everything necessary. So we should expect spending to also rise, and there are of course a lot of unknowns as to how long this is going to last, how much people are going to spend, and the money is the other key here. Of course, people spending money helps the government in revenues because of the tax they collect. So because people aren't out spending like they normally can, people have lost their jobs, the government isn't taking in that PST revenue that they do rely on to help balance their books.
And we know our province's numbers have been moving in the right direction, Adam. What are we expecting out of Premier Mo's plan to reopen Saskatchewan next week?
Well, Christy, it's really interesting. I think we're not really sure what Premier Mo has in mind. He said again today that there will be an announcement next week. I'm here, it's going to be early next week, and it won't be reopening the province. I think that needs to be made clear. People think when he says reopen that it means everything's back to normal. He's been very clear that this is going to be flipping a switch. It's going to be a gradual, methodical, careful process, but he did say today that the province will outline sort of a phase one, phase two, if you will, timeline of what the parameters are going to be, what they're going to be looking at as far as infections go when they start loosening some of these restrictions. Now, if we go back to about a week from now, we've been on a flat curve of one or two new infections a day. That's very good for the province and for the outlook. But as we know, this virus is unpredictable. Just yesterday in Alberta, we had 162 new cases and just one in Saskatchewan. So very unpredictable where we're seeing this go. And we heard from Ryan Miley as well today, and he had some reaction to what the province has said today in their announcements.
When we're talking deficits of $1.3 to $3.3 billion, when we're talking job losses of 12 to 27,000 jobs, that's a massive impact to our economy. And I think about the people across the province who are looking at those numbers and wondering, is that my job?
There you have the NDP leader, Ryan Miley, reacting a bit just a few hours ago to the government's announcement today. So a lot of news on a Friday, Christy, a lot for people to digest over the weekend. And as I said, we expect the phase 1 and 2 details of the, quote, reopen plan to be released by the Premier early next week.
Yeah, definitely a lot more to this story as it unfolds. Thanks so much, Adam.
You're welcome.